Live. All right, here we go. Good morning. So excited to see you guys on this Friday morning. Um, and let's see, like I said, we are streaming on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then also speaking on Clubhouse. So today or all week, we've kind of been talking about reframing autism. And as you can see, with reframing autism, it was not about the child as much as it was about you in dealing with how you deal with things and um, just things that you could do to kind of shift your mindset in making your life better and your child's life better. But for the most part, is actually getting you to your vision, right? So my name is Alicia Richardson. I am I was going to say brand strategist. I am that. But I am a mom identity coach, author, and speaker. And what I do is I help moms abolish mom guilt and go after their calling. And so, because I have a child with autism or special needs, this is one of the topics that I talk about because this is a part of my life. Okay, so the reason we're talking about the reason I'm like talking about this about reframing autism is because for a lot of us who have children with special needs, good morning, Shaniqua. A lot of us who have children with special needs, it can be a blocker for us. It can be, we can end up getting stuck and not starting the business, not starting the ministry, not starting, whatever it is we want to do, not going after our passions. And so often we feel stuck. We feel stuck in our own life because we have not truly reframed or reimagined or shifted our mindset on what autism looks like for us, or you and your family. Okay. And so today is my favorite topic of them all, and that is vision. Okay. So let me just share a story with you guys. All right. So when Caden was diagnosed with autism, he was 3. And of course, we went through this phase of denial, right? This phase of denial, like, that's not my child. I've seen what autism looks like, and that's not it, right? Because I was not fully educated in what autism looks like. In all fairness, I was completely ignorant at the end of the day. But it, like, it, getting that diagnosis added on to the already piled up junk that I had in my life. But what made this even more critical or crushing was the fact that I was walking through all this stuff blind. And I'm not talking about as far as physical sight, but blind in the sense of vision. I had a vision for my life before even I had my first son. I had a vision for my life. However, what ended up happening was my vision changed as soon as my first son came. But did I readjust? No, I didn't readjust. What I did was I kept trying to move when there was a variable added to my life. And when variables are added to your life, you have to adjust, you have to shift and figure out how this variable fits in your vision, right? Because now you can no longer operate from the old vision. You have to now operate from a new vision. Even when you get married, even when you choose and make a decision, like I chose to do the act that allowed me to have a child, right? So when you do those things, you have to readjust. But what I did was I did not readjust. I bet more people are in denial in the beginning. Thank you for sharing. Yes, a lot of people are. Probably 90% of people are in denial when their child, or if anyone in their family, gets a diagnosis, because it's not a part of the plan. Because it's not a part of, and what's so crazy is how common how common uh autism is. It's so common, but and a lot of people are not diagnosed appropriately, or whatever. But if you go back and watch the videos I did this week, we actually reframed what autism really is, and how we should actually go about looking at it, and not just looking at it as a diagnosis. Separating your child from the medical, it's huge. Separating your child from the label is huge. I tell my therapist all the time, we're not treating the label. We're not doing therapy on the label. We're doing therapy for Caden, because what the medical staff gives us, and a lot of the behaviors, it's like we sometimes take those things and we associate those things with the child instead of separating it and not working on the things to see how can we make this child thrive? How can we make this child's life better? So that's a little off topic. So, but thank you, Shaniqua. Yes. But today we're focusing on vision. So I had to readjust, but I did not really know how to I did not, I'm not going to say I didn't know. I knew, but because I was so stuck on the label, because I was so stuck on everything that I had just went through, like sometimes we go through stuff, but we don't completely sit back and become self-aware inside of the things that we go through. So we have to be able to sit back, assess, and become self-aware. That's a part of self-care. We talk about self-care in a sense of getting our nails done. We talk about self-care in a sense of going to go get our hair done. That's not what self-care is. Self-care is being able to be aware of where you stand inside of a situation. But when all of that stuff hit me, it hit hard. My marriage was a complete mess. I was trying to figure out how in the world do I balance my son, who was typically developing, amongst all these things, and making sure that he felt wanted and that he didn't feel ignored with all of the chaos. And then secondly, I was in the process of finding myself. And when you don't know who you are in yourself, that's a whole nother no whole nother problem. So all of these things, while trying to help my son, who is been diagnosed not just autistic but developmentally delayed, failure to thrive, feeding tube, in and out of hospitals, therapy, right? So what it came down to was, okay, Alicia, where do you want to be? My honest opinion was not sitting here for the rest of my child's life taking care of him. At that point, that's what it was. And that's real for me. So when the doctors asked me, okay, well, what's your main goal for Caden? For him to be independent and on his own. That starts the vision. What do you want for your children, whether they have autism or not? What do you want for your children? Right? And so when you can actually get a vision for your family, when you can get a vision for your marriage, when you can get a vision for yourself and begin to move in those things, that's when clarity comes. Why? Because when you get a vision, you can now begin with the end in mind. So that at the end of the day, I want my child to be independent. I want both my children to be independent. And I want a thriving business, right? If without a vision, you can't have none of that. Without a vision, we just can't hope that our kids learn and do the right thing. We can't do that. We have to be intentional. We can't hope that if we start a business, that our business is just going to succeed. No, we have to be intentional about the things that we are doing. We have to be intentional about the things that we are saying. We have to be intentional about how we are moving in the world and interacting with people. We have to be. So in order to when you have your vision, right, begin with the end in mind. When you begin with the end in mind, you can now work backwards. All right, well, if I want him to be independent, what does that look like? All right, well, that looks like him, I said this yesterday, being able to dress himself, feed himself, being able to, and notice I'm not comparing him to my oldest son. There should be no comparison. I'm not comparing him. I'm also not limiting him, because there are so many things that Caden can do that my oldest son cannot do. And it is so mind blowing and so amazing. So I'm not comparing him to my other son. But what I am doing is I am shaping what it looks like for this individual child. So when you see the vision, okay, well, what does he need to do in order to get to that step? I also want my other son, okay, I want him to be independent on his own as well. So what does that look like for him? So like what I said the other day, when you have a child with disabilities, you're going to have to be disciplined. You're going to have to be dedicated. Yesterday I talked about how dedicated are you? Because if you want a child to be independent, or whatever goal or vision you have for them, okay, for a child with disability, for our typical developing child, it might look like, okay, I want you to be here. So step one is step one, step two is step two. But for a child with disability, step one is step 1A, step 1B, step 1C. You just have to be dedicated to getting them there. I say him because I have two boys. Okay. So yes, beautiful. Reverse engineering your goals and desires. Yep. Absolutely. You have to know where you want to go in order to get there. You cannot just move through life and hope that things will stick, throwing spaghetti on the wall and hoping that it sticks. That's not how life works. So like I said, vision creates clarity. Vision gives direction. You know what else vision does? Vision allows you to make decisions. So I said earlier this week that there were some therapists that I had to fire. There were some people in his life, doctors that we had to get rid of. There was a lot. There was a lot of decisions that we had to make when it comes to Caden. And I don't know about any other parents out there, but there are times where I cried, because it is like, if I make this decision, if he grows up, I don't want him to be mad and say, Mom, why didn't you do that for me then? Like, I literally would cry. But because I had a vision and because I had goals for him, I was able to say, you know what? That's in alignment. That's in alignment. We're going to go say yes to that. Oh, no, you can't. You can't be here. You're not fitting within that situation, right? So vision allows you to make decisions. Okay. Vision also allows you to, I said boundaries, standards. I don't know if I said standards, but it allows you to create standards for your kids. A lot of people say that I'm hard on my boys, but that's for two reasons. Not only just vision, but both of them have a calling on their life. Both of them literally pregnancy was hard for the both of them. Both of them had a calling on their life. So there's the standard that I keep for them is higher. I don't care what your friends are doing. I don't care what they're watching. I don't care about all of these things. But in this household, this is what's going to happen, because you are chosen. You are set apart. We have these real conversations. Okay? And then the last thing I'll say is, when you have a vision for your children and yourself and your family and all of these things, the children literally grow up in an atmosphere of belief, hope, they grow up in this atmosphere of, they can literally do what they want to do, because they see when you have a set vision and you're disciplined in reaching that vision, all they see is win, 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 win. Maybe a disruption, but it's still a win, 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 win. So the child's mindset is shifted. But at the end of the day, how does this relate to you? How does this relate to you being a mom? Or are you stepping outside your role as a mom? Like I said, if you want to start that business, if you want to start that ministry, if you want to build whatever it is you want to build, you can do it now, because you're already putting your children onto success. You're setting standards. You're putting systems in place. You're putting schedules in place. You're becoming as a well-oiled machine. And that's how I am here doing this every day. Being able to, like, it's such a blessing that I can literally come here and talk and give myself to you guys because I've already created the structure in my own home. I'm able to do what I love because I've already encouraged my household. I'm giving from my overflow. I love that. Somebody said that in a clubhouse room. But anyway, that is all I have. My name is Alicia Richardson. I am the Mom Boss Identity Coach. And what I do is I help moms abolish mom guilt and go after their calling. If you have not already, please, 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 please go ahead and grab the book, You Are More Than a Mom. It has been such a blessing to so many moms. I cannot even tell you my heart is just so warm because when you write or when you put out a project, right? And this is the first time I ever wrote a book. And let me tell you guys, I'm not a great writer. You can go through my post and see my I need editing, all of that. Like, it's just such a blessing to be able to give something to a mom, to not where I gain, but to where they gain, and they're able to live a life that they want to live. Freedom. And this book is freedom. It's liberty. So go ahead and grab the book. All you have to do is go to my website, www.aliciarichardson.com, and you'll be able to find it there. If you're watching on Instagram, all you have to do is go into my bio. On here, just put in a comment, hey, book, and then I can send you the link. Thank you for joining in, Alana. You're so awesome. So supportive. I am going to actually go ahead and shut it down. I appreciate everyone who has listened in and are going to listen later on. Talk to you later. That was under 17 minutes. Look at God. I'm getting back to my old self. All right. And